There's a harsh truth about money that most people only discover when it's already too late. Poverty isn't always the result of a small paycheck. Many times it's the result of a small understanding. You can grind harder than everyone around you, drag yourself through double shifts, sacrifice sleep and peace, and still stay broke. Why? Because if you ignore the laws that govern wealth, life will punish you for it. That's the trap entire generations fall into. And Machiavelli would tell you that's not an accident. The money game is rigged in favor of the sharp, the disciplined, and the strategic. Everyone else? They're pieces on the board, working, sweating, and sacrificing for someone else's gain. So what separates the ones who rise from the ones who die in the same place they started? It's not luck. It's not even raw talent. It's rules. Harsh, cold rules that don't care how you feel. Break them and you bleed. Honor them and the world starts to tilt in your direction. Today we're walking through Machiavelli's playbook for the 10 rules of elite wealth. Rules so blunt and unforgiving that most people would rather dismiss them and stay comfortable in their fantasies. But that comfort is exactly what keeps them poor. Rule 1. Wealth begins in your mind, not in your wallet. Machiavelli understood that all power begins in perception. Money follows the same logic. The poor treat money as a lifeline to survive another month. The wealthy treat it as a weapon, a tool to bend reality. If you see money as something to consume, you will always be starving. If you see money as an army under your command, every dollar becomes a soldier that can march, multiply, and conquer more territory for you. Most people chase crumbs, a tiny raise, a small discount, a side hustle that barely moves the needle. They rarely ask the one question that changes everything. No, how do I make money work for me while I sleep? Broke minds think in hours. Rich minds think in systems. Ignore that, and your time will always run out, while multiplied money never sleeps. Rule 2. Stop asking for permission. Look closely at the lives of the chronically broke, and you'll notice something. They live at the mercy of other people's decisions. They wait for a boss to approve a raise, for the government to rescue the economy, for luck to suddenly notice them. Machiavelli would laugh at this kind of weakness. Power is taken, not handed out. Wealth obeys that same law. If your success depends on someone else's yes, your future is chained. The elite don't sit around hoping to be chosen. They build value, build skills, build systems. They make themselves so useful that the world has to respond. Want to earn more? Don't just complain about your wage. Build something. Learn something rare. Monetize a skill until ignoring you becomes impossible. Every time you wait for another man's approval, you hand him ownership over your destiny. And control is the first foundation of wealth. Rule 3. Learn to sacrifice or stay a slave. Here's the part almost no one wants to hear. You can't have everything at the beginning. Not when you're building. The broke mindset is addicted to comfort. Late nights, constant entertainment, gadgets, impulse buys. They feed their feelings and starve their future. The wealthy mindset sacrifices on purpose. Machiavelli wrote that rulers must sometimes deny themselves in order to secure their throne. Money works the same way. Every impulsive purchase is a fallen soldier. Every sacrifice, every night you don't waste, every dollar you don't blow, every impulse you tame and redirect into investments adds to your army. The broke stay broke because they refuse to feel discomfort. The rich accept discomfort as a weapon. They delay gratification because they know the feast later will be bigger, stronger, and permanent. Rule 4. Build leverage, not just labor. Here's the dirty secret. Nobody becomes truly rich by selling hours forever. The poor worship hard work as if it's holy. But hard work by itself is a beautifully decorated trap. Machiavelli would say, the prince does not conquer with his own hands. He conquers through what he controls. In money, that control is called leverage. One person grinding 8 hours a day will never outpace someone who builds a system that works 24 hours a day. That system might be a business, a team, software, investments, content, anything that keeps producing without your constant presence. The poor keep saying, I just need to work harder. But harder does not mean richer. Smarter plus leverage does. Refuse leverage and you stay in the grind until it consumes you. Rule 5. Control the story about you. Machiavelli taught that rulers survive not only through strength, but through image. Wealth follows perception. People don't just invest in numbers, they invest in stories. If you look scattered, desperate, and unreliable, people will avoid tying their money, time, or reputation to you. Many broke people earn money, but they can't keep it or multiply it because no one trusts them. They're always late, always in chaos, always in crisis. The wealthy understand brand. They know that how others perceive you is its own currency. A strong reputation is worth more than your current income. If people see you as competent, disciplined, and steady, doors appear that others never even knew existed. If they see you as sloppy, dramatic, or needy, those doors slam shut. Often you don't stay broke because you lack money. You stay broke because you never took control of your narrative. Rule 6. Accept that the game is rigged. This rule hurts, but it's reality. The system is not fair, and it never promised to be. Machiavelli would smirk at those demanding fairness. Power doesn't submit to fairness. It submits to those who understand how the system really works. The wealthy know the tax codes, the contracts, the loopholes, the networks, the quiet back doors. The poor don't even look. They complain instead. And complaints don't rewrite laws. Strategy does. You stay broke when you fight reality instead of mastering it. The rich play with information advantages, legal advantage, social advantage. If you never learn these rules, you'll always be the one funding someone else's empire. On Rule 7, never rely on a single source. Dependence is weakness. Machiavelli warned rulers never to place their armies entirely in the hands of others. In money, the same principle rules your income. If every dollar comes from one paycheck, one boss, one company, you are one decision away from disaster. Lose that job and the entire structure collapses. That isn't security. That's slavery dressed in benefits. The elite build multiple flows: investments, businesses, royalties, rental income, online income. Different rivers feeding one ocean. If one dries up, the others keep moving. The broke cling to job security, which doesn't really exist. Letting one man or one company decide your fate keeps you poor, scared, and controllable. Rule 8. Escape the consumption trap. We live in a world where people measure success by what they parade, not what they truly own. Cars they can't afford, clothes they bought on credit, vacations they financed with debt. Machiavelli would mock this foolishness. Rulers who spend for display lose power quickly. Real wealth is quiet. Fake wealth is loud. The poor stay poor because they want to look rich before they are rich. They borrow to impress strangers. They drown in debt for an image that doesn't feed them. The wealthy resist this trap. They're not chasing shiny liabilities. They're chasing assets. If it doesn't grow their power, they're not interested. Ignore this rule and you'll keep feeding the illusion while your real future starves. Rule 9. Ruthless discipline or no wealth at all. Wealth is not built in a weekend. Machiavelli knew ruling requires patience, strategy, and relentless discipline. Money is no different. The broke want shortcuts, lotteries, miracle coins, overnight schemes. They gamble, lose, and then quit, over and over. The rich are boringly consistent. They save, invest, and build step by step. They return to the plan even when it's not exciting. Discipline is not flashy, but it is the backbone of elite wealth. Quiet decisions, made daily, repeated for years, become empires. Refuse discipline, and your money will leak away no matter how much flows in. Rule 10. Power guards wealth. This is Machiavelli's most brutal lesson. Money without power is easy prey. If you have wealth but no influence or protection, stronger players will find a way to take it from you. Look at lottery winners. They touch millions and then lose everything. The money arrived, but the power to defend it never did. The wealthy don't just build piles of cash. They build shields, legal structures, alliances, networks, political influence. They make it costly and difficult to touch what belongs to them. Machiavelli would call this fortifying the kingdom. If you ignore power, your money will eventually belong to someone else. These are the 10 laws Machiavelli would whisper to you if he walked into this century. They're not gentle, they're not polite, but they are real. Ignore them and you stay broke, no matter how hard you work. Live them and you unlock levels of wealth and freedom most people never get close to. And that's only the surface. Knowing these rules is like holding a map, but you won't conquer a kingdom with a map alone. You need strategy, execution, and endurance. This is where most people fail. They listen, nod, maybe feel inspired for a moment, then return to the same habits that keep them stuck. Machiavelli would call that weakness of will, and weakness has no place in the pursuit of power or wealth. Picture two people earning the same $50,000 a year. 10 years later, one is buried in debt. The other owns investments, savings, and options. Same income, different outcome. Answer: the difference is not the amount, it's the mindset using it. The broke mind treats money like running water. The moment it enters their hands, it flows out. The wealthy mind treats money like seed. You don't eat every seed. You plant some, nurture them, and over time they grow into trees that feed you forever. Machiavelli taught that perception shapes reality. If you see money as scarce, you operate from panic. You grab, you hoard, you react. If you see money as a tool, you start acting like a commander. You redirect, you multiply, you allocate. That's why the poor buy liabilities, things that drain them, while the rich buy assets, things that pay them. It's not sorcery, it's mental programming. Rule 2, in action, stop begging for permission. How many people live their entire lives waiting? Waiting for the boss to notice their effort. Waiting for the economy to get better. Waiting for the right time. That's not patience. That's disguised slavery. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who waits for fortune has already surrendered. The world rewards the ones who move first. Take someone stuck in a dead-end job. Most stay planted, hoping for promotion. That's permission thinking. The Machiavellian approach is different. Use the job as a training camp. Learn the skills, understand the system, then build something of your own on the side. The job becomes a resource, not a cage. The longer you wait to be picked, the more power you give away. The moment you decide to pick yourself, the game shifts. Most people remain broke because they defend the very habits that destroy them. They say things like, "I deserve this," right before dropping money on streaming, snacks, clothes, and status toys. The future doesn't reward what you feel you deserve. It rewards what you actually build. Imagine someone making $3,000 a month and spending $3,200. That's not just poor budgeting, that's self-sabotage. Now put them next to someone with the same income who consistently saves and invests 20% every month. 10 years later, one is trapped, the other has options. Sacrifice is not about living miserably. It's about trading small, forgettable pleasures for big, unforgettable freedom. If you can't say no to yourself now, life will say no to you later. You will never outrun poverty if the only tool you use is your own back and your own hours. Work is noble. It's also capped. There are only 24 hours in a day. Your body can only endure so much. Leverage is what multiplies you. That's how the elite escape the limits of time. They use systems, teams, code, content, money, all as extensions of themselves. A single decision from them can move armies of effort. Billionaires aren't rich because they swing a hammer harder than everyone else. They're rich because they own the company that sells the hammers, hires the workers, and runs even when they sleep. If all you know is work harder, you'll eventually burn out and be replaced. Only leverage lets you step off the treadmill. Control your narrative. Here is a Machiavellian law. It isn't enough to be something. You must manage what people believe you are. Two people with the same income walk into a room. One is sloppy, late, and loud about their problems. The other is sharp, disciplined, composed. Who will be trusted with opportunity? With leadership? With other people's money? The rich don't leave their image to chance. They understand that reputation multiplies or strangles income. This doesn't mean faking a life you don't have. It means aligning your habits with where you're going, not where you're stuck. You dress, speak, act, and deliver like someone from the next level, not the last one. Ignore this and you will be permanently underestimated. Rule 6. In action, master the rigged game. The world is not set up in favor of the uninformed. Workers shoulder most of the tax burden. People who don't read contracts get trapped in them. People who don't network miss opportunities that never go public. Machiavelli said, "The strong shape the rules while the weak complain about them." The wealthy don't just accept the game, they study it. They pay professionals to navigate laws. They spend time understanding how money moves. They position their assets where they're protected and taxed less. Meanwhile, the poor shrug and say, "It's too complicated," and pay the price of refusing to learn. You won't change the system by crying about it, but you can change how exposed you are to it by understanding how it actually works. Build more than one stream. A person who depends entirely on one paycheck is like a kingdom with only one gate. Once that gate is breached, everything falls. The wealthy spread their risk. They stack incomes, a job, plus investments, plus digital products, plus rental income, plus royalties. Even modest secondary streams over time turn into powerful safety nets. Start small. Freelance work, a digital product, a tiny investment account, selling something online. Then reinvest what those streams produce into new streams instead of new toys. One ally can betray you. One income can vanish. Multiple streams give you the power to say no when life tries to push you around. Modern society is a machine built to turn you into a consumer. Ads tell you that you are what you buy. People bankrupt themselves trying to look like someone they never actually become. Machiavelli warned that rulers who chase pleasures lose their grip on power. Money behaves the same way. Ask one question before every purchase. Does this make me stronger later, or just entertained right now? If it doesn't build you, protect you, or empower you, it's just noise. Too much noise and you'll never hear the sound of opportunity. All great empires are built brick by brick. Wealth is no different. It's not exciting to save month after month. It's not thrilling to invest consistently into boring, solid assets. But that's exactly what works. The undisciplined chase spikes and spectacle. They jump from scheme to scheme, never sticking with anything long enough for compounding to kick in. The disciplined treat their financial habits like a military campaign. They track, they adjust, they continue. Over time, they become unstoppable, not because they move the fastest, but because they never stop moving. Fortify your wealth with power. Think of your money as a castle. If you build walls made of paper, the first storm destroys them. Lottery winners, overnight influencers, sudden success stories. They receive wealth without learning how to shield it. Parasites gather, mistakes multiply, and soon the fortune vanishes. Power in modern terms means legal structures, contracts, intelligent advisors, influence, and education. It's making it hard, legally, financially, and practically, for anyone to strip you of what you built. Machiavelli would say, do not simply win your kingdom, secure it. The same applies to your bank account. Now you see, these aren't motivational slogans. They're survival codes in the world of money. Break them, and poverty is your default punishment. Honor them, and you begin carving out a different destiny. But here's the twist. Information alone changes nothing. In time, everyone knows they should save. Everyone knows they should avoid stupid debt. Yet most don't. Why? Because the real battle is mental. Fear, laziness, addiction to comfort, and the constant urge for distraction. If you don't conquer that battlefield, no rule will save you. This is why most people treat wisdom like entertainment instead of a weapon. Machiavelli never worshipped ideas for their own sake. He honored action. So we translate these laws into daily tactics, and when you do, something else happens. The world around you begins to react. The truth is, most people are not happy when you stop being broke. They're invested in you staying the same. Once you begin applying Machiavellian wealth rules, expect resistance, mockery, jealousy, subtle sabotage. That's where this final layer of rules comes in. Guard your reputation like treasure. In Machiavelli's time, a ruler's image was life or death. If people smelled weakness, they rebelled. If they doubted his word, they abandoned him. Today, your reputation is your invisible credit line. Deals, partnerships, promotions, referrals, all of them depend on whether people trust you. If you lie, break promises, ghost on commitments, or leave projects unfinished, people notice. They might never confront you. They just quietly remove you from their list. Protect your name. Be known as someone who delivers, who is sharp, who is steady. Your reputation will walk into rooms before you ever arrive. Lose it, and you'll find that the rooms where money moves were never open to you in the first place. The broke mind wakes up asking, "What can I get today?" The wealthy mind asks, "What can I plant today that will feed me tomorrow?" Machiavelli urged rulers to think beyond their own lifetime to secure a dynasty. For you, that means building assets and systems that can outlive your job, your strength, even your presence. Land, businesses, intellectual property, investments. Things that keep paying long after the work that created them is done. Before you spend, ask, will this decision still matter 5 years from now? That single question separates people who chase weekends from people who build empires. Rule number 9. Move in silence. Machiavelli said the wise prince hides his intentions until his movie is unavoidable. In your wealth journey, this means stop broadcasting every dream, every plan, every win. When you brag, you invite envy and competition. When you reveal everything, you give others a map to interfere. Silence is armor. Silence lets you build without people pulling you back. Silence makes your success appear sudden, even though you've been grinding for years. The loudest ones usually have the least to show. The quiet builders, the ones who work in the shadows, are the ones who eventually own the stage. Master yourself before you try to master money. This is the deepest cut of all. Machiavelli knew that a ruler who cannot rule himself, who is ruled by anger, impulse, lust, or pride, will eventually destroy his own kingdom. Money obeys the same law. If you can't control your spending, your cravings, your distractions, then no income level will ever be enough. You'll just scale your chaos. Self-control is the root of lasting wealth. You don't have to kill joy, you just have to control timing. Celebrate after you've secured, not before. The poor celebrate every small income and regret it later. The wealthy build first and enjoy from a position of strength. Win the war inside, and the outside world has very little it can use against you. So let's bring it all together. If you ignore these rules, you won't stay broke because life is random. You'll stay broke because you chose blindness over wisdom. Machiavelli didn't write for the comfortable. He wrote for those who dared to enter the arena of power. Money, make no mistake, is a form of power. These rules are simple, but they cut deep. Accept that image matters. Accept that nobody is coming to rescue you. Diversify your sources of strength. Value knowledge more than entertainment. Choose alliances carefully. Stay adaptable. Guard your name. Think in decades. Move quietly. Rule yourself first. Ignore them, and whatever wealth you touch will be temporary. Here for a moment, gone just as fast. Live them, and you join the rare few who rise above the crowd and never fall back. The choice is yours. Wealth is not an accident. It's discipline. It's strategy. It's refusing to move through life with your eyes closed. Machiavelli handed the map to anyone willing to read it. The question is, will you finally use it, or will you stay broke?